for years. That's what we should care about. And that's my...
Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
So, Toby and obedience, who believes that Obi represent, you see, that's one thing about people now, okay? If you look at Omoyele Sowore, right? Omoyele Sowore as an activist, like African Wahala described him, right? A straight shooter, no old bar, state as it is, and all that stuff is a very, very good CV for an activist. But for an activist come politician, all right, then you will learn what is called compromise. It doesn't mean that you have to, I'm not saying compromise your principle and all of that too. But if your principle is really strong enough that you can't compromise to work with at least one of those that, I mean, probably the only one. Anyway, one of those who had the chance of enriching themselves having served as an executive of a state, like Obi did. One criteria that, see, one CV that you cannot rubbish it in front of the obedient. And I kind of agree with them. Nigeria is a den of thieves. In fact, it is a crime for you to have an opportunity of stealing and not use it. In Nigeria of today, Peter Obi, as well as other politicians that you have parading themselves in Nigeria of today, when you put all of them together, Peter Obi is a saint. And I can say that anywhere. I'm not saying he's a saint like saint, nobody is so. When you begin to compare the public record of all these guys and him, you'll be able to single him out. And this singular thing, among others, right, stood him out among the obedient. So you can't rubbish it. You would have to actually bring a real evidence that he looted public fund when he had the chance like everyone else. You will need to go beyond just speculations and all of that. And that is where even Showore's principles will be put to question. What is exact Showore's conviction? That Peter Obi is like them. What exactly is conviction? Or is a capitalist who is taking advantage of the system as a businessman, not illegally, is not doing anything illegal? I mean, like, you know, if he was, they had all the chance of actually using that against him. Even Showore himself will be the first to publish such. So it goes beyond what you call principle sometimes, when your principle or the reason for your action sometimes is not really backed by facts. You get what I mean? Like if you want to say, oh, somebody stole this or did that or used this position to enrich this one like Norma, or he used this position, okay, to also enrich his personal business that he kind of gained personally. You know, all these things can, then they will tell you, oh, he invested Anambra State money in a business that he also has interest. Or he invested Anambra State money in banks that he has interest. Okay. Now, you see these two, normal for conflict of interest, right? I can tell you it's illegal. But even at that, you were told, okay, if you are in private sector and you are going into public sector and you left your hand and all that, right? Well, here is something, which is actually the main thing, okay? Nigerian government never really tried him for carrying out an illegal sort of like that, okay? No record of that. Because there's no record that Anambra State lost money under him. That's another thing. He ended up being one of, one of those of his kind at the time who not only paid up, like, you know, it's actually something they celebrate in Nigeria, okay? So it's not just only that he revived the education sector, set a new generation of young Anambrans, right, on the path of self-growth using education, okay? He did so well that he became one of his symbol. This guy was in charge of a state for 8 years. He borrowed no single dime, like he left no single debt. Rather, he left surplus. It's still on record. A guy, right, who invested the state's money, and when the money matured, his successor decided to go and build the airports. So people actually hated him for not being corrupt enough and using that, or not being corrupt and using that as a flex in a country that is filled with corrupt people, where people actually love their corrupt criminals. So if Shore's, with Shore's exposure, if this is not something that is more than just, if with Shore's exposure and understanding, right, and he says he can't compromise his belief because Obi is like them, that's not being honest from my own perspective. Same thing with Kuti. They enjoy taking Snyder team. And I don't think it's actually Obi. It is the influence he controls. I don't think anybody saw that coming. And instead of us to leverage on that, especially those of them who are saying they want to do Nigeria better, it is something else. Again, as a leader with understanding, somebody who wants to lead the country, I think there will be a time that you kind of have to see and be honest with yourself. All right? That even if you don't like all of them as elite, but in this regard, like Sonko and Faye, there will always be a time for the common good and the bigger picture. Because who says something can't happen? Take a listen. This is me now trying to, sort of make up a scenario, okay? For example, take a look at Senegal, all right? There was a man so big, so huge, that it was the main opposition to the sitting president of Senegal in 2019. Sonko was the main opposition, all right? Until he was accused by the sitting president of Senegal, accused him of making a deal with Putin in Russia. And he reported that as the reason why he had to be arrested and disqualified from the election and all of that stuff. That he was going to receive some money that he has pledged to give Senegal to Russia by taking it away from France. Sonko was that big and that huge, to the point that people were like, okay, since Macky Sall has won a second term, they will wait for the next election in 2024 and they will vote for Sonko. But Macky Sall was not done. He did everything to make sure that Sonko's political mileage continued to so political structure were destroyed, incapacitated to win election. But he was wrong. And a totally unexpected, supposedly not as powerful individual that they least expect. 10 days before election, he was released from prison. And now he's the president of Senegal. Sonko is now the prime minister of Senegal. Can't people see bigger picture sometimes? Now they have the power to tell France to F off. They are no longer opposition. They are no longer critics. They are no longer people with big English anymore. They are now in charge of Senegal. And they can tell France to F off. I don't know if I have to say more anyway, so I'll leave it at that. This is how passionate this is to me, right? Because I believe that where people have discovered what is wrong, sometimes you have to shift ground. You have to compromise here and there. I am not saying you should decide to go and join criminals because no, that's not what I mean. Obi is not a criminal. That Showore should be, or the Showore supporters should be taking a snide at. I'm serious. Some of you are totally unchangeable. But maybe you can think about it. Okay? And to you, the obedience, I know you are all reacting to somebody who just chose to provoke you, not with fact or anything, but for God knows what. I will continue to remind all of us that you have a chance and you can actually change a lot. I mean, we can change a lot from all our choosing path. Somehow, have you not noticed our path keeps crisscrossing one another. How many times or how else did you really think we should explain to you that we need ourselves? And the more we remain apart, the more the criminals continue to leverage. Again, let's continue. Away from the obedient. I dare the people of Taraba. The man called Wadume became prominent when the Benue state governor at the time, Autumn, helped us sort of raise the alarm, so to say, that the notorious terrorists terrorizing the people of Taraba, the people of Adamawa, the people of Benue, kidnapping them for ransoms, a notorious, they call him, but he is actually a member of APC, Egbekegbe, but he was like an MC Oluomo of Taraba. So when the business of politicking was no longer profitable, or he was left and they were not, referring back to him, right? I was using him. He decided to go into kidnapping. And his own boss, the people that bought him the guns and weapons that for political stuff, decided to now sacrifice him. Wadume was arrested in 2019, or he surrendered. And the court in Nigeria then sentenced him to 5 years imprisonment for kidnapping, for ransom. Okay, this was 5 years ago.
Nini Hamisu Bala, wanda yake da inkiya Wadume. 'Yan sanda suka zo ibi suka kama ni, da suka kama ni suna tafiya da ni, sai soja suka bi su suka bude wuta har wani su 'yan sanda suka rasa rayukansu. Da nan suka ɗauko ni suka kawo ni helkwatansu na soja, suka yanke mun ankon ɗin da yake hannuna na gudu. Tun da na gudu ina cikin buya, sai yanzu 'yan sanda suka sake kama ni.
Wadume. 5 years after that, see how Wadume entered Taraba, Jalingo. So that was the grand entry of the supposed notorious kidnapper back to his people. Evans, the kidnapper, is not that lucky. You get her? Evans is not that lucky because Evans got 20 years in jail for kidnapping. And there is no sign that he's probably going to be out until 2035 or something. When is Evans going to come out again? Don't answer that. It doesn't really matter. Okay? Sorry, my audio is now sort of probably too loud. Anyway, let's continue. Guys, there is this clip now that a lot of you are here. I played it from the start of this broadcast, and I'm going to play it again. It is an individual who said it is the best day, like an historic day in his life, where a day he's been looking forward to, and will be given a chance and a podium to really speak directly to the Omo Oduduwas worldwide. Now let's go back to it. He was there interpreting what Yoruba anthem means. And the message is directly to you, Omo Oduduwa. If you can hear, pay attention now, okay? Grand.
And I will tell you that with this that I'm doing now, it was a dream for me, and now I'm making it come true. I will thank for the invitation to Dr. Sumi Smart. Thank you for this opportunity. Gómìnà wa. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, farabalẹ̀. Gómìnà wa ń bí farabalẹ̀ ẹ jọ̀ọ́. Bàbá wa, ọ̀gá wa, olórí wa. Mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orin ìpínlẹ̀ wa, ìpínlẹ̀ Ondo. Mo fẹ́ jẹ́ ká ní òye sí nípa àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ńbẹ̀. Ó sọ pé iṣẹ́ wà fún ilẹ̀ wa. Iṣẹ́, work. Iṣẹ́, responsibility. Iṣẹ́, duty. Fún ilẹ̀ wa, for our land, for our soil. Our responsibility for our land, our duty for our soil. Fún ilẹ̀ ìbí wa, for the land of our birth. Ká gbéga fún ayé rí. Ká gbéga fún ayé láti rí. Let's lift it up for the world to see. Ìgbàgbọ́ wa ni pé, our belief is that bí a ti bí ẹrú ni a bí ọmọ. Ìbí ojú bí. The way a slave is born is the same way a child is born. Ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká jọlá. Tí bá jọ ṣiṣẹ́, tá bá jọ ṣiṣẹ́, a máa jọlá. Let's work together. Let's be wealthy together. Let's work together. Let's break through together. Let's work together. Let's make it together. Ìṣọ̀kan àti òmìnira. Ìṣọ̀kan. Iṣẹ́ ọ̀kan. The act of doing as one. Tí àwọn olóyìnbó ń sọ, tí àwọn olóyìnbó ń pè ní unity àti òmìnira. Unity and freedom. Ní kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká máa lépa. Ní kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká máa lé ipá ẹ̀. That should be our driving force. Tẹ̀síwájú fọ́pọ̀ ire. Ìtẹ̀síwájú fún ọ̀pọ̀ ire. Let's continue in plenty of goodness. Àti ohun tó dára, and everything that is good. Ọmọ Oòduà, ẹ dìde o. Children of Oduduwa, let's rise up. Bosipo etore, enter into your right to develop this land. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀. You are the light of the black race. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀. ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbọ́gbàdúrà o. Ẹ ṣé gan ni.
Yes. And of course, is probably a Yoruba from Brazil, Cuba, and all of these distant lands. Sorry, I don't know why my microphone is doing that, but pardon me. Okay. I don't know if it's because it's closer to my mouth now, right? But it is impressive, isn't it? Where you are reminded, like it was meant to be something that you know, a lot of us actually understood the wordings, not many does. But as a Yoruba people, as a people, we are not xenophobic. We are people who are traditionally community people. We are a people that, for those of us who grew up in the communities, like, you know, in smaller towns and villages like that, we see how we care for one another. And you can see how people care for one another, even in the midst of not having plenty. How they care for the sick, how they care for the poor, how they help themselves in their own little way to keep growing a community of Yoruba people. That's who we are. We do not have any class system in Yoruba land, because we believe as Yorubas that childbirth, or so to say, that nobody, see, everyone is born the same way. Whether you come out and you end up, or you are a slave, or the son of the soil, like, you know, freeborn. Yorubas believe that we are all equal. There is no classism in Yoruba land, until the criminal politicians have now decided to bring in classism. They are trying to force that on us now. Trying to make you or tear families apart, all for politics, where your Yorubaness is now being put to question by some Omo-Iran-Kirans who have somehow found their ways to political power, and they could then use that to redefine Yorubas. You shouldn't let that. Call your children. This is the song. It's beautiful, isn't it? Thank you for that, dear brother from another mother. That's how it is. As a Yoruba man, when you get to see your descendants in another skin from faraway land, who have somehow retraced his way and all that back to the same source, our source as Yoruba people. I think it's kind of like it eats differently, you know, eats differently in the sense that it kind of will get you thinking, and every word will begin to have meaning to you. I know some of you seated there now, some of the words are now kind of coming back to you, and they are now making it to you because somebody took it upon himself, learned the Yoruba language enough that he could read it and, communicate. And then you begin to feel like, we are supposed to be a great country, sure. And Nigeria just do us this bad. You know, that kind of feeling, right? And that is why we must continue to remind ourselves of who we are. It is very important that we do that, at least for the sake of our own children. We owe them that. We do. So invest your time in bringing this Yoruba-ness, Yoruba history. Let them feel proud. Whether your mama na Igbo, papa na Yoruba, your mama na Yoruba, your papa na Igbo, or your papa na... It doesn't really matter now, because as Yorubas, they never really matter. They never. There is one unique thing about us. For those who genuinely, the Omoluabis, the Yoruba Omoluabis, no political jobbers, chancers, who has 24 years and 24 to 25 years opportunity of making the lives of an average Yorubas better. They've made it worse. The Omoale Yorubas, because you can say that easily. We have been led by Omoale Yorubas in the last 24 years of this fraudulent democracy in Nigeria. Our people have suffered enough. Poorer. There is no promotion of wealth or redistribution of that same wealth. It is the poverty that we have in common with the rest of Nigeria as the victims of a misgoverned misgoverned country and poor governance or bad governance. There is something in us unique and big, huge. Don't let them replace that with this hatred that they are trying to force down your throat so that they can continue to make you believe that you're not good enough to be your own country. If your fellow Yorubas, because of what they are enjoying from Nigeria, the crumbs that they are enjoying from Nigeria tells you Yorubas don't need independence, Yorubas don't need this or that, because of the crumbs they are getting from that place. We need to keep reminding ourselves of who we are until we indeed break ourselves away from this contraption. Okay? So I thought that's something that will get you thinking and begin to question everything you've been told about this place. Yeah, you would have to question everything you've been told. This is how. So today we got the delivery of a fatherless people, and I've started reading that. A fatherless people by Dele Ogun. And I've also been told that somehow this has been reproduced into a video, like documentary, like on Netflix. Honestly speaking, if I found it indeed, or you can look it up too, a fatherless people, the secret story of how the Nigerians missed the road to the promised land. We are about to start reading it from tomorrow. I'm also aware, I missed the delivery today, why we struck. The first military coup in Nigeria, and those who are indeed the plotter of the coup. Was he actually Igbo coup? Or the same writers of the Nigeria history, the murderers, genocides who wrote Nigeria history, did they put that in the history and put that in your head? We will find out. And that is going to be starting from tomorrow as well, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, I have had a bit of an enough chat now, okay? I have few things to add to this conversation, but I'm just going to pass them on. And we are going to call it a night. I want you to please prepare for that tomorrow, and it's going to start from the 12 noon in the afternoon. Anytime from 12 noon, that reading will start and continue. The fatherless people. For spending your evening with me tonight, I want to say thank you. And remember, if you haven't really shared this broadcast, please do, right? Because you may never have to do it. I mean, you may not be able to do that again until next time. Thanks to every one of you. I will see you tomorrow. Good night.
Máyégún làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Máyégún làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Máyégún ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Máyégún já wa sí.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Bó bá ṣe eré àní Máyégún máa wí.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Máyégún dáyàrí pòlítíkò.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Máyégún.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Àní Máyégún làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Máyégún dáyàrí Náíbì nọ́mbà one.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Presido bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ̀. wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀ oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o àyè.
Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Máyégún ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.